Hello, you guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. And yeah, this is not our usual time, but you know what? I think it's going to be a good time. I have a lot of things I want to talk about with you guys. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. I hope you guys have had a good day. I've had a good day. It's been a long day, but a good day. Amber, thank you for being a member for 7 months. And I cannot believe that. Time flies, and I love and appreciate you too. And thank you for being so amazing. Actually, you've been here for quite a bit longer than that, honestly. I think at least a year, but yeah, thank you so much for everything. All right, let me say hello to you guys. Sorry, I got a little bit, I don't know, thrown off because when I was getting ready to start the live, we have a lot of company here. I have a lot of family visiting. Somebody had walked out right here, like right when I was starting, and it kind of threw me off. But let me say hello to you guys, and then we're going to get into all of the things. So, hello, David 420, and thank you so much. Hey, B Crimes. Hey, Mayla's mom. Hello, Tess. Hey, Being Bio Girl. Hey, Dave G, Nurse Kristen, Neat Noodle, Trixie, Nothing But a Thing. Hey, Kathy, Megan. Hey, Adrian. Let's see. Hey, Abellas. Roro, Christina, Melanie, Mama 4, Occasionally Good Tara, J.E. Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Sarah. Thank you. I figured we could make it a nighttime, theme since it's nighttime. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to kind of just hanging out with you guys late like this. Yeah, late night alley. Hey, Kelly Mac. Pointer lover. Oh, thank you, Being Bio Girl. That's really sweet. You know what? That's funny because anytime, like over on TikTok, I had a few videos that have went like, I don't guess viral, but like viral for me. A couple of them hit either a million views or close to it. And anytime I've gotten like a ton of views, it's just like hundreds of comments about how much they hate my voice. That's the truth. So thank you. I appreciate that. I've been here for about a year and a half. Yes. I think so too. I kind of got thrown off, like I said, because somebody walked out here like right when I was starting. Hey, sweet and sleuthy. Okay, so there was some news today with Stephan Sterns. We're going to go through an article that, I just can't get over it. Actually, B Crumbs, thank you so much because she's helped me a ton. There were also some new documents. And so I think that I'm going to go ahead and drop the links. I only grabbed a couple that I want to talk about. And I know that Gray Hughes, which is where I saw them, I'm going to put his link in the chat. And the docket had gotten, I'm going to get his link too, had requested and gotten hundreds of pages of documents. And some of them are on Twitter, and I want to show you some of that. And then there's a couple from Gray's channel from earlier. So, and then I want to talk for a little bit about Michael Proctor too. And I mean, disgusting. Truly, that is the theme of true crime this week, and in more ways than just these two cases, but we'll keep it with these two. Disgusting in different ways. And not to say that Michael Proctor and Stephan Sterns are anything like on the same level, but they are just disgusting, both of them. Hey, Lisa. Oh, I wish I could show y'all the moon tonight in my neck of the woods. So beautiful. It's so many things. Yeah. Hey, Grandma Sherry. Oh, thank you, David. It's only 7:09 my time. Love this time. Hey, Cutie Pie. Hey, Debbie Doodles. Well, you know what? This week we might do several late night lives because honestly, I think that's just the best way. I don't know. That's the way that I see it working so far. I can't wait for tomorrow either. I cannot wait. He got my blood boiling too. Hey, KN, those messages, I'm telling you, oh God, it was just so infuriating. And I want to show you, I've also got a clip of Karen leaving court and what she had to say about him. But first, let me pull up this article. We're going to start with Stephan Sterns and go through some of this. There's some things, I don't like to do trigger warnings. It's true crime. I don't like to censor. We're not going to censor anything, but I do want to say it's really graphic and tough stuff to talk about. So just be prepared. And so that's really all I can say. The freak snakes come out at night, Grandma Sherry. Oh, thank you. Occasionally Good Tara. I appreciate that. Yeah, I get a lot of that, honestly, which I don't care. It is what it is, but thank you, sweet and sleuthy. I like it too. All right. So let's check this out and then we'll get into some of these. Hey, Angie. Hey, Sherry. All right. So, like I said, this is tough stuff to talk about, and it has to do with child sexual abuse, and that's just the only way to put it. So, heinous, atrocious, or cruel. Former prosecutor explains this revealing legal classification. So 3 months after the body, I messed up. 3 months after the body of 13-year-old Madeline Soto was found in a wooded area in St. Cloud, prosecutors are now seeking the death penalty for her murder. Investigators said Stephan Sterns was dating Maddie's mother when he killed the teen. On Monday, the Orange Osceola State Attorney's Office laid out the main reasons why Sterns should be on death row. Prosecutors said they intended to prove Maddie's murder was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel. One former prosecutor told Channel 9 that it is an important and revealing legal classification. There's lots of murder cases that happen every single day. A very small percentage of those are classified as death penalty cases, and an even smaller percentage of those are classified as heinous, atrocious, and cruel, especially against a teenager. So this former prosecutor stated. This person, Ryan Vecchio, served in the prosecutor's office for nearly 15 years, trying multiple murder cases during that time. While Maddie's autopsy has not been released and investigators have not shared exactly how they believe Maddie died, this classification reveals prosecutors believe it was especially horrific. Heinous, atrocious, and cruel crimes normally involve torture, said Vecchio. Madeline, in this case, was either tortured or the act that was committed was so vile and reprehensible that she knew that her death was coming about. On Monday, prosecutors, and this is just the opinion of this former prosecutor, so just remember that, because what we're going to look at next, these are police documents, and that's a little bit different. This is just, someone's opinion, somebody who knows what they're talking about, but regardless, someone's opinion. So on Monday, prosecutors also said they intended to prove 3 other factors. The capital felony being committed while the defendant was engaged in the commission of or an attempt to commit aggravated child abuse. The victim being particularly vulnerable because the victim stood in a position of familial or custodial authority over the victim, because the defendant, did I say that wrong? The defendant stood in a familial or custodial authority over Maddie. And that Stephan was previously convicted of another capital felony or a felony involving the use or threat of violence to the person. The current sex charges against Sterns will serve as priors if he is convicted. I am so glad. Part of me thinks, and I'm curious what you guys think. Actually, let's do a poll. So are you guys in a case like this where we know that this man was doing what he was doing to Maddie since she was a baby? How do you feel about the death penalty? I'm going to do a poll. Some people think life in prison would be worse. Then you have to suffer, right? And you have to deal with the consequences for a longer amount of time. And prison isn't necessarily, a nice place to be. Oh, nothing but a thing. Thank you for joining. I think you're rejoining. Thank you. And I just want to say, I know earlier, I think Amber was live about Maddie's case, ATS News. I hope that you guys will check that channel out. She has a great channel. I think Melissa was live earlier, and I love her channel too. I would stop by in Criminalities earlier today for just a second, and I think she was on Karen Reed. So definitely check out those channels if you haven't yet. Okay, so let me do this poll really quickly. Death penalty, and this is for Stephan in particular, not just for anybody, because I think that matters, right? And how it does for me, and whether I think that they should face the death penalty or whatever. Oh, also Grandma Sherry, maybe one of the mods could get her link for me if you guys don't mind. And any other channels that come in, you guys know that, please check them out. No, I did not see her milestone. Hold on though, I might in a second. I'm doing this, typing out this poll. Death for Stephan Sterns. Yes, no, not sure. Okay. Oh, Nicole B, thank you for being a member for 2 months. I'm busy outside all day. Night lives are the best. Oh, awesome. And I know you're into Karen Rita, and I want to talk about that and this. I'm just so disgusted with both of them. Both Stephan Sterns and Michael Proctor for very different reasons. I am not, like I said, saying they are on the same level. I knew I wanted to clarify that 50,000 times because people love to, you know, I don't know. You guys know how people are. But thank you, Nicole, for being a member for 2 months. I appreciate that so much. And nothing but a thing. And then also, Amber, if you guys missed it, yesterday Amber was on and we were talking about the potential serial killer, Jesse Calhoun, who has been arrested and charged with 3 murders. And there are more, that he might be charged with. Amber came on and we were chatting. And then the sister of Joanna Speaks, who is one of the victims, her stepsister Ariel came up. I would love for you guys to watch that. It would mean so much to me, and her friend Haley. Ariel has started a nonprofit. I'm good. So the nonprofit is like state. So far, it's been approved state to be a state nonprofit, but once it's federally approved, I want to do it like one of those YouTube fundraisers for them. But yeah, I would just love to see you guys over there and listening. And even if you want to leave a comment for support or whatever, I would appreciate that so much. And then Angie, thank you for being a member for 14 months. Wow, long time toots. It's been much longer than that. But yes, same for you, much longer than that. Being Bio Girl, Jesse Calhoun, that guy. Let's see. Oh, Grandma Sherry, you're so welcome. Problem with life in prison is he won't live long in custody. It could be years before they give him the needle. That's true. Prison justice. And we know from following Letitia's case and all her jail files, there are so many instances of other inmates going to the COs and going, look, I can't stand to be here with her. I'm not going to be able to get out when I'm supposed to get out if you keep me around her, because they could not control themselves. B Crumbs, yeah, I got it now. Thank you so much. Even though the true crime community is broken and gross in so many ways, we truly do have an amazing community here with you, Melissa, ATS, Jenn, and others. Oh my God, I agree with you so much. I really do. It can be a really chaotic and nasty place sometimes, but you guys make it all worth it. Clicker, thank you for being a member for 8 months. Listening but working at the same time. Love to my peeps and back at you, and thank you so much. All right, now let me get that off the screen. So let me check your guys's so far. Oh, wow. I'm surprised. So 87% yes. I mean, I'll be honest. Usually I'm kind of not necessarily for it. I think life in prison would be worse too. But what he has done is so disgusting and just so, oh my God, I feel like I could be the one who, and B Crumbs and I were saying this earlier. She said it to me actually first, but I don't know how she said it. But I feel like I could be the one who injects him. You know what I mean? Truly. It's just, oh. So he is facing 60 charges, including capital sexual battery, lewd or lascivious, excuse me, I don't know how to say that word, lewd, molestation, and unlawful possession of materials depicting sexual performance by a child. Vesio also told Channel 9 if Sterns is convicted on his other crimes, he could be facing multiple mandatory life sentences in prison before jury selection would ever start in the death penalty case. His next court date is July 10th. Remember some of his other court dates, he hasn't went. His attorney has went for him. And also, a lot of what do I keep doing? A lot of body camera footage and stuff has been released. About a month or 2 ago, we also got some footage of him being transferred. So there's stuff coming out all the time. And this is Florida. Oh, at the end, it's just a bunch of pictures. But you know what? Let's look at them for a minute because they're good pictures. And yeah, what a beautiful girl. It's so sad. that she had to deal with this monster. The Orange County Sheriff's Office said Friday evening that Maddie's body has been found. So she disappeared on the 26th and was found on March 1st, I believe. Let me double check that because I just took a note of that. Yes. So February 26th to March 1st. And that's important because the documents we're about to look at, I want to keep that in mind. Look at him there. I mean, oh God. The picture I used on the thumbnail was, he looks just so different to me anyways. I'm curious what you guys think. And, this is the area where Maddie was found. You guys remember there was a person who had seen him changing his tire, and it led pretty much directly to the location of where Maddie was. The nerve of this man to go, to the news and after what he had done and cry and sit there and get her mother to comfort him. Just absolutely disgusting. Oh, almost ended the live, you guys, on accident. Oh, Sherry, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. And Megan, thank you. I appreciate that too for the super chat. You say, I can't wait for you and Jenny goes live on Teabag. We were just talking about that. We're going to do it soon. It's my fault. We're behind. I have to get the next video together. We are also waiting on the new videos. And I have a couple things like I wanted to do once we get the new videos to kind of get us back, the new phone calls, I'm sorry, not video visits, but the new phone calls to get us back to that place in time. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. Hey, Music City Mom. Oh, I didn't even see the Amber Alert in Iowa. Hey, Anonymous. Hey, Solo Sock. Okay. So now I want to look at some things over here. First, this was tweeted out by the docket. Like I said, I do believe that Gray Hughes and the docket had gotten these, a bunch of different paperwork, reports, search warrants, things like that. And we're going to look at a few things from that. But this particular tweet was kind of interesting. And he puts in a clip of what he's referencing. He says, just received 900 pages of Stephan Sterns reports, warrants, etc. while transporting Jennifer Soto to the station for an interview. The officer noted that she kept referring to Madeline in the past tense. I thought this was interesting. Now, we have not seen any charges yet. So, as far as I don't know. I think that I know people have their feelings and you guys can feel however you feel. I will not be offended. Please feel free to voice your opinions, and just be kind to each other if you disagree. That's all I ask. But personally, I do believe it's possible that she could not know exactly what was going on. However, I am really disappointed that they were sleeping in the same bed. I think we have to do better as mothers. We have to be smarter than that. If you are dating and you have children, girls or boys, I mean, for one, the women who are dating, their kids are at a much higher risk for something like this happening. That's just the truth. And you never truly know someone. This is just proof of that. So I cannot make excuses for that. I'm really disappointed to see that was happening. So this is from interview number 3. Now, this was on February 28th. Remember, at 3:02 p.m. She goes missing on the 26th. So 2 days later. This officer offers blank a courtesy ride from the hotel that she and Stephan were staying at to the Osceola County Sheriff's Office Central Operations Building. Blank, we know this is Jenn, okay, accepted the offer, and I transported her in my agency-issued vehicle in the passenger seat. During the transport, Jenn and I had a brief conversation. While speaking, I noted that Jenn referred to Madeline using the past tense, and it has been redacted, but I mean, it only makes sense that that's what what this says. So, referred to Madeline using the past tense several times when she mentioned her. I inquired about whether or not it was normal to allow Madeline and Stephan to sleep in the same room unsupervised. She replied this was not common practice. However, she did not have any suspicion that anything inappropriate would occur between the two. She used to be hypervigilant around Stephan. However, as the years have gone by, she has allowed Madeline and him to be alone because they get along very well. This conversation was audio recorded. She was hypervigilant around Stephan. We know that, according to the paperwork, he started doing this to Maddie when she was 8 years old. So I don't know how that makes sense, but I have tried to give Jenn so much grace. However, I feel at the very least she needs to have child endangerment charges. Like, WTAF, would you ever allow that? She grinds my gears. Why are they taking so long? I stuck up for her in conversations. It's so awful to hear. Well, me too. And I do believe that it's possible she was truly that clueless. Let's be real here. We know that if we believe what was heard from other people, like friends, it is rumored that she was on a lot of medication and things like that. Is it possible that she truly didn't believe that he was capable of this? I mean, I would hate to think that about any man I've been with in the past, that they would be capable of this. I don't know. But I can't make excuses for the sleeping in the bed together and stuff like that. If you didn't know, you should have. And I'm sorry, this is it's horrific, because guess who pays? Madeline. That's who paid for it, ultimately. It may literally not occur to her that he would do anything to a kid. I know. I believe that's possible. I'm still going to give her grace, but I question her judgment for sure. No excuse, but good point. Thank you, guys. Mother's intuition would tell me something was wrong. I would surely hope so for me. And I understand why everybody feels how they feel. Hey, Tony. The fact that Stephan was willing to sleep in the same bed with Maddie is sick. I know it is. I know that. Okay, so I agree with you being bad girl. I just wonder, like, are you in this like drug-induced fog phase? I don't know. You know what I mean? And I think until she's charged, which there have been moments where police have said certain things that have made me question if that's going to happen. And even there are a lot of law enforcement officers on social media that, say some really questionable things, but Duty Ron is one that I feel like we can really listen to. And I don't know. For me, I do take his opinion the opposite of lightly. I don't even know how to say that. Like, I value his opinion. I do, kind of trust and count on what he says to be the way that it is. But he's even just disgusted and mind blown. So I don't know. I just don't know, you guys. But I just want to read this just one more time before we go on, because I want to just break this down into a couple parts. So 2 days after Maddie goes missing at 3:02 p.m., this officer who wrote this police report says, I offered Blank a courtesy ride from the hotel that she and Stephan were staying at to the OCSO Central Operations Building. Now, they're at a hotel, I'm sure, because the house is being searched and all of that stuff. Jenn accepted the offer, and I transported her in my agency-issued vehicle in the passenger seat. This is only 2 days after Maddie goes missing. So I have heard, and this is something that B. Crumbs and I were also kind of tossing around, like sending this stuff back and forth and reading the articles and all of that. it is not unheard of for people who have missing children, who have been missing for a while or even for a few weeks, to use the past tense. I think that it could happen a lot quicker than we realize, but 2 days, I think that it's interesting that even the officer pointed that out. Because usually it's people online that are watching these interviews and stuff, and they're like, oh my God, they're using the past tense. Well, this is not what's happening here. This is just an officer taking note of that. Oh, is Bendy here? Let me see. Hey, Bendy. Thanks for the note. Yeah, thanks, YouTube. I'm getting real tired of that. I can't say she knew. I'm sure if she didn't, she will hate herself forever. However, the sleeping in the bed alone to me is super hard to get past. That to me put her daughter in a position of harm. That's how I feel as well. I know you agree, Allie, and you're just trying to look at all sides. You're always for the victim first and foremost, and have to be careful how you say things as well. We get it. Absolutely, Natasha. And yeah, I just, I don't know. But thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Pointer lover, I took my grace back. It's not funny, but yeah, her grace is gone in my eyes. I like Duty Ron as well, and I do think she's going to face some sort of charge. But I think people should prepare themselves that it's probably going to be minor charges. To me, it sounds like she said, I need a good night's sleep. She didn't want him to bother her, so take her daughter instead. Oh my God almighty. I don't think she will be charged with anything because I can't imagine she did anything illegal. Morally is one thing, Well, I do feel like if they had evidence of her doing something illegal, that she probably would have been charged, right? But I don't by now. But I don't know. I could be wrong. We see them wait to build cases all the time, but I don't know. Neat Noodle says, I understand, and it's getting more difficult. I know that she is mentally ill, and that's why I have any grace left. Hey, there's nothing wrong with having some grace. Hey, Colada Hope, truly. No, I didn't, Bendy. Okay, B Crumbs. I'll have to look again. I don't think it was the same bed alone. I think it was the same room. I will look. Most mothers tend to hold out hope and refuse to accept definitive facts, even when faced with the fact their child is deceased. So the past tense thing doesn't sit well with me. It's so interesting that even the police noted it for me. But yeah. I never gave her grace, and finding out about the sleeping arrangements validated my judgments. So for me, I don't I've already feel like I've kind of pointed fingers in the past and I was wrong and I haven't proven to be right in those situations. So I never want to do that, especially when people are already going through the worst times in their life. I'll tell you something that really made me think. And that was one of the first conversations that we had about this case. We were kind of all sitting here, and you have no idea that how many people in the chat had went through things by their dad or stepfather, and their mom had no idea. I mean, it was a lot. I would say probably 50 out of a chat of 150, 200 people or something like that. It was a lot. So that just shows you that it is possible, and it does happen all the time, unfortunately. And that's just the truth about it. Hey, Sprinkled Donut. I absolutely think she will be charged, whether it's child neglect or abuse or an actual accessory to murder. Yes, I think she's next. I love your picture, eyes wide open. She should hate herself forever. Sorry, I just can't deal with what she did. She handed him what he wanted. Hey, Mel, I would love to give her grace. However, I have a very hard time believing she didn't know something. Why on God's green earth would you let your baby sleep in the same bed? I agree, Amber. The victims should always be respected, and in my opinion, the victims' families are victims as well and deserve the same respect until it is proven they had involvement. It is a slippery slope that some... Let's see. Creator, just ski down that slope like it's fun. It's rough, but I think it's better to choose grace and respect until there's a definitive reason not to. Yeah, I agree. And, also, though, for the people who have the way they feel about it, I respect that too. And I really, honestly, I like the different opinions. I like challenge me in what I'm saying and what I think, if you can, and if you want to, and if that's how you truly feel, you know what I mean? So please, you guys, don't ever feel like you can't do that. Jen says, it was interesting. He said kind of the same thing you and I talked about with Jenn being groomed too. Ooh, will you send it to me? Okay. Does this not give you do-gooder second thoughts about abolishing capital punishment? Who are you talking to? I mean, I know you're not talking to me, but let's see what that poll says. Speaking of that. Absolutely, she will, Bella Italia. If there is any digital evidence found, she will face charges. I do believe that too. And it's probably going to take a while to go through everything. So we're at 91% of the chat does want him to be put to death. And like I said, I think that I'm in that, 75% of me wants that as well. Then there's part of me that's like I said, life in prison would be maybe worse, but all right, let's keep going because there's some more to look at. Oh, wait, I did not finish this. So, excuse me. While speaking, I noted that Jenn referred to Madeline using the past tense several times when she mentioned her. I inquired about whether or not it was normal to allow Madeline and Stephan to sleep in the same room unsupervised. She replied this was not common practice. However, she did not have any suspicion that anything inappropriate would occur between the two. She claimed she used to be very hypervigilant around Stephan. However, as the years have gone by, she has allowed Madeline and him to be alone because they get along very well. Do they really get along very well? I mean, I'm sorry. All right, so just a moment, you guys. Okay, these are kind of blurry because they were taken from a screenshot from Gray Hughes, and I want to drop his link again, and I just appreciate him talking about it and putting the papers up and stuff like that. So just 1 second. Let me grab his link one more time. I think it's going to take them a really long time to put out all the information because it's a lot of documents, but we shall see. Okay, so they're a little blurry, but I think that I can read them. Once the historical phone orders were authored, all orders were reviewed and approved by Honorable Judge Whitehead. Once the orders were approved, they were submitted to the phone company. So a lot of this has to do with search warrants. Also on Wednesday, February 28th, 2024, again, trigger warning, this is just, it's tough stuff. And like I said, and I got to repeat this every time. I don't even like to do that. Like, it feels silly. It's like, this is true crime. All of the stuff we talk about is heartbreaking, and a lot of it is horrific. It's just the truth. But this is just especially horrific. So on Wednesday, February 28th, Detective Andrew Calise, along with Orange County Sheriff's Office Detective Luis Acosta, interviewed with Jenn. The interview was conducted at the Orange County Sheriff's Office Central Operations Building. The interview was audio recorded and uploaded to evidence.com. The following is a synopsis of the interview. It should be noted Detective Calise did not conduct the entire interview. After answering a few questions, Detective Calise stopped the interview and waited for detectives from the Kissimmee Police Department. The following is a synopsis of Detective Calise's interview. During the interview, Jenn confirmed that Stephan lives with her. That Madeline lives with her and that her boyfriend of approximately 7 years was Stephan Sterns. As the interview continued, she stated that on rare occasions, Madeline and Stephan slept in the same bed. So there we have it. It was the same bed, not just the same room. According to Blank, the reason for this is so she could get some sleep because sometimes all three of them sleep in the same bed. She also confirmed with Detective Calise that she and Stephan had been sexually intimate. Detective Calise presented her with various images that were recovered from Stephan's cell phone. The first image was a hand placed on the buttocks of a white female. After viewing the image, Jenn identified the hand as belonging to Stephan. Okay. Sorry, you guys, I did mute so I could clear my throat. I don't know if I'm getting sick or allergies or what, but I apologize. Next, Detective Calise showed her a close-up photograph of a white male penis. Blank viewed the picture but was unable to identify the penis. Next, Detective Calise then presented her with another image of a penis pulled over a pair of pants. Again, Blank viewed this image and identified this as belonging to Stephan. She believed this was Stephan's based on the clothing and blanket near him. A few moments later, Detective Calise paused the interview with her and waited for Kissimmee Police Department detectives to respond so the interview could continue. Detective Calise did not participate in the interview with Jenn once Kissimmee detectives arrived. On Thursday, February 29th, 2024, Detective Calise, along with other Orange County Sheriff's Office homicide detectives, conducted an extensive area canvass near Old Hickory Tree Road. This canvass was met with negative results. This concludes Calise's involvement with this case. So this was February 28th. Remember, they instantly found this stuff. His phone, he had accidentally factory reset it and all that shit. All right. So here's a supplemental report, and this is has to do with the search warrants and stuff too. So this is February 27th, and she was missing, like I said, on the 26th. So this is the next day. Detective Matthew Chiang, responded to Blank to assist Detective Maria Tagler in reference to a missing persons investigation. On February 27th, 2024, I authored a search warrant to search the residence of the 13-year-old victim, Blank, located at Blank. The warrant was subsequently signed by Honorable Judge Reginald Whitehead. Review of traffic cameras. On February 27th, through law enforcement resources, I observed a silver Lincoln sedan with Florida license plate IYLL82 traveling through multiple locations in Orange and Osceola County, Florida. This silver Lincoln was registered to Stephan Sterns' father, but was primarily used by Stephan Sterns. The information I observed was provided to Kissimmee Police Department detectives from Kissimmee. On February 28th, Detective Ilger provided me additional information regarding the location of Stephan's vehicle as it traveled through St. Cloud and Osceola County. The information obtained was forwarded to Detective Tagler and the Orange County Sheriff's Office Command Post. I don't know why I keep doing that. Ow. On February 28th, 2024, I was served a search warrant for blank and assisted with Orange County Forensics Unit in searching the apartment. Simultaneously during this search, detectives, so at the same time, while they're searching the apartment, this is just 2 days in. Just checking on you guys. Let's see. Simultaneously during the search, detectives learned of photographs and videos on Stephan's phone where Stephan appeared to have sexual intercourse with the 13-year-old victim. We were able to locate multiple articles of clothing worn by both Stephan and blank in the photos. Multiple articles of bedding and towels observed in the photos were located as well. All items were documented and collected by the Sheriff's Office Forensic Unit. Let me check the poll again. I need to check that because he disturbs me so much. Even just reading that and like reading in towels being observed in the area, like, it just makes me sick. It's horrible. I'm so sorry. Poor baby. 92% of this chat believes that yes, he should be put to death, and 5% are not sure. Only 3% are for no. And that is so interesting because I think most cases it's a lot more split than that. Kimberly says, I think he groomed both Jenn and Maddie. At the same time, I feel Jenn is at least guilty of being neglectful to Maddie. Kimberly, that's kind of like what Bindi was talking about. Oh, Shauna, I love you back, and thank you for being a member for 11 months. Okay. Oh, good night, Nurse Kristen. Love you back, and I hope you have a good day tomorrow. 5:30 does come early. Hey, Cynthia. Well, you know what? I only have a few of them so far. I think it's probably going to take a while for them to come out, but I will as soon as I can gather any more. I will make sure that you guys can get them. And I know that Gray Hughes is going over a little bit at a time. That's the way I understand it. And the docket, I still have Gray's link here, I believe. So that's another channel you can check out to get more information on those, and then the docket as well. Okay. All items were documented and collected. So then the next day, this is 3 days later, I assisted Osceola County Forensic Unit in collecting additional evidence from blank. I transported Stephan's cell phone from the Orange County Sheriff's Office Central Operations Building located at 2500 West Colonial Drive, Orlando, Florida to blank to reference the photographs located on the phone during the search. Numerous additional clothing items, towels, and bedding was located inside the apartment located at the above address. Stephan's cell phone remained in my possession and was returned to a secured digital evidence locker located at the Orange County Sheriff's Office Central Operations Building after the search. All evidence found at the apartment was documented and collected by the Osceola County Forensics Unit. It should be noted prior to the search of Stephan's apartment, I was advised there were photographs located on Stephan's phone where he appeared to record his roommate, blank, in secret. While at the apartment, I was able to utilize Stephan's cell phone and recreate the angle and contents of the photographs by placing his phone under the crack of blank's bedroom door. I photographed the placement of Stephan's cell phone and uploaded it to evidence.com. And do you guys remember the roommate that came out? I believe he did the interview with Gray Hughes. And you know, you can't always believe what you hear in an interview, right? I mean, that's just the way that it is from anybody. It blew my mind. I can't even speak. Like, oh my God. Bella says, there is too much crime. It's getting worse. We all must be tired of these horrid crimes. Oh, okay. Good night, being bio girl. Thank you so much for being here. I remember that roommate interview. Yep. Oh my God almighty. Predators seek situations with weak mothers and absent fathers. Several have admitted it in interviews after being caught. Atrocious, absolutely. Freaking believable. I'm going to read that part one more time because we are going to get into some Karen Reed stuff. I don't know how many of you guys in here have been watching that. But oh my gosh, tomorrow, Michael Proctor, they began cross-examination. It did not last long, but it was already explosive in my opinion. Tomorrow is going to be huge. Michael Proctor is the lead investigator. And he's the one that was looking for news. There's just so much. The text messages, though, in particular, that were released in trial that he had to read out, shaming her for her Crohn's disease or, issues with her intestines. Just being disgusting, claiming he hated her attorney. It was some of the most disgusting stuff from an officer, the lead investigator in the case. It just absolutely disgusting. I have to hear that again. I was distracted. I'm about to read it to you again. Not that I want to hear it, but I want to know they will do the right thing with Jenn Soto. It has me riveted. I know tomorrow. Oh, I'm just so looking forward to that. The texts were gross with the law nerds. Oh, I hope your tests go well too, being bio girl. Kalata Hope, I agree with you. I think crime has always been, if not this bad, then close. And I think that us having cell phones and internet access has just opened our eyes to how much of it is actually going on. And you're right, there's a lot more than we even know about. But I'll tell you what, those guys of you who are here with me, like usually on a regular basis, when we talk about like random true crime news, there are so many cases that there's not much information out about, and you don't really hear a lot of people talking about. There's a website. I'm going to put it in the chat for you guys. It's called Crime Online. And there are several different journalists that work for this website, and they're constantly uploading all the things happening all over the place. Big things, little things, cases that are unheard of, everything. If you go to that website and check twice a day, you will be amazed because both times the entire website will pretty much be full of new stuff. It happens all the time. It's horrible. It blows my mind, but it's true. Okay, so one more time. It should be noted prior to the search of Stephan's apartment, I was advised there were photographs located on Stephan's phone where he appeared to record his roommate in secret. While at the apartment, I was able to utilize Stephan's cell phone and recreate the angle and contents of the photographs by placing his phone under the crack of Blank's bedroom door. I photographed the placement of Stephan's cell phone and uploaded it to evidence. So that one roommate had said that they caught him like trying to film in the bathroom. Imagine how this roommate must feel. You know what? On March 1st, 2024, I assisted Detective Taylor Heller with downloading and conducting an initial review of the Google search warrant return of the Google account belonging to Stephan Sterns. During the initial interview, I observed numerous photographs in the return, which I had also observed to be located on his cell phone as well. So he was uploading things to his Google Drive, probably re-downloading them. I don't know. But we know that he was uploading them to his Google account, whether it was Google Photos or Google Drive. Oh, thank you, Music City Mom. It was his apartment. Let me get back to this. Let's see. Inside the apartment located at the above address. remember, he didn't live there anymore with Jenn and Maddie. I think that is all we have on this, and we're about to shift into Karen Reed stuff. But let me just double check something really quickly. This is near where Maddie was found. And if you guys remember, here's another thing that I've forgotten about. Someone in the sheriff's office uploaded a photo of her out in nature to the internet by accident, to Instagram. Wasn't it Instagram? Correct me if I'm wrong, because there's so much that happens all the time. But yeah, I mean, and the photo was everywhere. Thank God, and I will not show it, but I have seen it, and you couldn't really see much. You know, you couldn't see anything. But maybe some, like a little bit of clothes. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it, but it should have never happened. It could have been a lot worse, and thank God, you know, that it was quickly taken down. And I haven't seen it. Like, I don't know. I haven't been looking for it, but I wasn't looking for it before, and I ran into it. So, but yeah, he didn't even live there, and she was okay with him sleeping with her child. Like, WTF. Mm-mm-mm. All right. So, now, could Trooper Michael Proctor's damaging text about Karen Reed impact her trial outcome? And I believe it could. I'm going to show you what Karen Reed had to say about it. I'm going to show you someone that was there that is explaining how the jury reacted to it. And I want to know what you guys think. So I'm going to change the poll. Now we're going to switch into some Karen Reed stuff. And I'm going to close this poll out and start a new one, because I am really curious if you guys feel like these text messages could affect the trial, the outcome. Could these text messages affect the outcome of the trial? I like to do the polls. I just like to hear from you guys. Hey, Roxanne. That's why I love it here. We can be in the minority and still be respected. Absolutely. Hell, y'all might change my mind sometime. Good night, Nanine. I'm so glad that you were here too. I think the text might impact it for sure, but does not prove anyone did it. I agree. It's always 3% with very bad judgment. A couple of years ago, I took my son to college. The hotel only gave us one bed by mistake. There were no other rooms. We slept in the same bed, but it did feel weird, to be honest. Okay. Wow. 77% of people say yes. Well, let's see what some experts think. I think, and then I want to show you some reactions. Actually, let me first show you what Karen had to say. And then we'll read this, and then I'll show you what the jury thought. How about that? That way we're kind of mixing it up with videos to articles and stuff like that. I actually really like doing lives at this time, but I'm still wide awake. I guess, I suppose if it was a night I was super tired, I might feel differently, but yeah. Okay. Reporter, Karen, how was it hearing those messages? Karen, I'd like the state police to say something about the language.
Karen, how was it hearing those messages? Like the state police to say something about the language they've heard. Karen,
okay, hold on. I want to make it bigger for you guys. Just 6 seconds.
Karen, how was it hearing those messages? Like the state police to say something about the language they've heard. Karen, how was it hearing those messages? Like the state police to say something about the language they've heard. Karen, how is it
Karen
hearing
looked
those
so angry.
like the
Well, I
state
tell you
police
what,
to say something about the language they've heard?
the things that were said about her, I bet you she is. It was absolutely disgusting. I'm sure it was humiliating. I could not imagine. You know, Jen and I started watching the trial as if we were jurors. We didn't know anything prior to. There was a little bit that Jen knew, but nothing we were going to let affect our opinions, and we were going to make judgments based on kind of not kind of, based on what we saw at the trial alone. And I won't say that the trial has certainly not proven that she did this for me yet. However, there's part of me that has always been open to the fact that she could have, and it could have been an accident. I mean, and there are little moments where I'll catch myself somewhat maybe thinking that she did. There was even Jen McCabe's testimony was horrendous for the Commonwealth. However, there was one part I do remember thinking, because her answer kind of hit my ears a little funny. So I don't know. She didn't even trip, in my opinion, really. Are you talking about the cop saying she poops her pants? Yeah. And the nudes and all the other stuff that they said. I mean, I would look angry too. Yeah. Mayla's mom says Karen is loving the attention. I think we have a pretty split chat on if you guys feel that, I don't know. I feel like you guys have given opinions either way. I don't think there's any way to back up at 23 miles per hour. Mama Ford, they were talking about that in here. I don't know if it's way I understood it that it was no longer in effect, but let me know if it is. I'll pull it up. All right, so let's look at this for a moment. How could Trooper Michael Proctor's damaging text about Karen Read impact her trial outcome? And when you hear about the jury, how they reacted, it's a short video as well, but they said they were mostly women and they had visual reactions. You could see, their reactions, but there were hours of testimony in Karen's trial on Monday, but 1 hour stuck out for many who were listening. Trooper Michael Proctor, the case officer leading John O'Keefe's death investigation, read his damaging text from his personal phone about the case out loud in court. The texts were to his wife, his friends, his co-workers. Wasn't one to his sister, too? He used several expletives, referring to Reed as a whack job, made jokes about her medical condition, and suggested he was searching her personal phone for nude photos. Reed is accused of killing her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer, by hitting him with her car in 2022. These damning texts were a part of his direct examination as a witness for the prosecution. Why would prosecutors call Proctor to the stand? The prosecution's in a really tough point when they decided to call Trooper Proctor, because they have to decide if they meet this head on and be the one that asks him the questions and then allow him to explain it, or if they let it come up in cross-examination. Emily D. Baker explains, which is pretty cool that they're citing her in this article. She is a California-based former district attorney with a popular online streaming channel with analysis of the case daily. If texts come up in cross-examination, there's no explanation. It's, you said this, you said that, she explained. The texts were worse than I expected, she told WBZ. She said it's extremely unusual to have a law enforcement officer's personal cell phone extracted and become evidence in a trial, typically because officers know better than to use their personal phones to discuss a case. Once those personal cell phones get extracted, it's everything, she explained. And that could be the officer's own photos of their family, themselves, their children, personal text messages, emails. It opens up everything. And they know that very well. On Monday, some jurors were visibly shaking their heads or gasping subtly at some of the texts. 10 of the 17 jurors are women. How will the text impact jury deliberations? Emily says, I don't know how the jurors are going to get around it, because even if the jurors don't believe the defense theory of the case, I don't know how they get around this investigation seeming to have a direction from the very beginning. from the very beginning. That's just the truth. Some of these texts started pretty much immediately. Sherry says, I think she was set up. Cutie Pie, if Karen is found not guilty, whether she hit him or not, there is no justice for John O'Keefe or his family. There won't be an investigation into anybody else. That's freaking sad. And then if there is, I mean, if she actually did, either way, it's sad. I was going to say if she actually did do it, but either way, if she's found not guilty, I believe you're probably right. The jury's going to start looking for people. See, I just noticed I did the lip smacking thing. I get complaints about that too. Like, I get a lot of complaints about all kinds of random shit, but that's a more common one along with my voice. But anyways, for those of you that just love to comment about it, I apologize in advance, okay? The jury's going to start looking for people who aren't connected. And in this case, there's only a few of those witnesses, and I think we've got some to go. So I want to see the cell phones, the medical examiner, and any accident reconstruction in the rest of the state's case. I agree. In addition, Proctor's text to supervisors and co-workers, and his words joking about looking for nude pictures on Karen's phone suggests poor evidence preservation, Emily says. He seemed to be manipulating her cell phone directly. So any evidence from her cell phone, I'm going to question, because in my experience, I've never seen anyone manipulate a device. That device is always extracted into a mirrored image or drive or a Cellbrite extraction. Proctor's testimony could also influence public perception, not only of this trial, but of policing in general. Yeah, you think? And especially those, that police, the state police in Boston or in Massachusetts. This goes beyond just darker humor, Emily D. Baker said. This goes into really a disdain for the person that he is supposed to be objectively investigating. And it really leans into people's fears that the people policing us really don't see us as equal citizens to them. On Tuesday, the Massachusetts State Police confirmed Trooper Proctor is still employed by the agency, and he is the subject of an open internal affairs investigation. He's still employed, and he is the subject of an open IA investigation. A spokesperson would not confirm whether he was actively working or not. I'm sorry, but I just cannot believe that all men talk to their buddies like this. I know that. I just cannot. I just do not believe that at all, but it is just sick to know that some of them do. Hey, Jackie the 13th juror. Oh, thank you, Cutie Pie. I super don't trust cops now. Interesting. The judge is bitching rude. Well, you know what? It did seem like she had kind of changed her tune just a little bit on Monday. Oh, thank you, Neat Noodle. His text messages disgusted me so much. I don't even talk like that about people who I've had the worst issues with in my life. Oh, thank you, Jackie. You guys are so sweet. Thank you, Rando and B Crumbs. You are a hot ass mess according to these fools. Okay, we're gonna keep listening, but I'm trying to open this little gummies. See, I waited for you guys. If we start doing late night lives, I always take a gummy to help me sleep at night, but I can't take them as early. Neat says, I don't see justice coming. It's bad. B Crumbs, the case and investigation are so badly tainted. BH being the perp sounds more ridiculous than KR. In my opinion, their chats weren't anything more than an awkward third grade game playing text combo, so it wouldn't make sense. Higgins, I can agree and disagree. I agree about the text, like they were awkward and weird, and I don't necessarily think he was the perpetrator. However, is it possible that he would keep his mouth shut or help someone else? I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know anymore. And especially when it's like a family. Like, look, if you're going to lie for anyone to the police, it's going to be for your family. You know what I mean? Hold on. Tori says, I'm behind. Oh my God, just read the document already, please. Tori, go find it yourself if you don't want to hear what I have to say. That is why I'm here, obviously, like to give my opinions too. I mean, how rude. Aw, Jackie, we've missed you too, and I'm glad that you're here. Okay. I have one more article after this and then the jury thing. So hold on just a second. This is another legal expert. Trooper's testimony could prove fatal to prosecution's case, legal expert says. Hold up. No, that's all good. No worries. Oh, thank you, Amber. And I'm so glad that you guys are here with me. And join.
All right, if there's any night we needed 2 legal analysts, this is the night. We're joined now.
No, we don't want to listen to that right now. Okay. Cops do lie. They do. And there are good and bad in every profession. That's just the truth. TJ Maxx and Marshall store workers are now wearing body cameras? Sorry, that's not relevant at all, but huh? Ooh, Brian Walsh. Could Trooper Proctor's testimony impact the Walsh murder trial? Remember Brian Walsh? I cannot remember his wife's name. But if that investigator is also the lead investigator in that case, it's very possible it could. Massachusetts State Trooper Michael Proctor's vulgar text about Karen Read took center stage at Read's murder trial on Monday. And experts say his testimony could ultimately prove fatal to the prosecution's case. I love hearing like the opinions of people who know, and your guys, like anybody's opinions. Well, not anybody's, but you know what I mean. Proctor, who led the investigation into the death of Read's boyfriend, took the stand Monday and was cross-examined by the defense. He's already under investigation for a potential violation of department policy in connection with the Read case. I did not know it was in connection with that. Like I said, you guys, I don't really know all the things that led up to this. That was kind of, and purposely, once I decided, me and Jenn decided that we were going to follow it, we purposely didn't look into all of the stuff that happened up to this point. Just because the jury's not supposed to. You know, I've seen cases, I believe it was Lori Vallow's trial. There were jurors who knew of the case, but they were able to say, I'm not going to let that affect my decision. I'm only going to base my decision on what you show me in court, basically. Some do, not all. I don't know what you're talking about, Amber. Since you're behind, I'm going to put it in the chat. Let's see. The lawyer, you know, is so objective with his coverage as usual. We haven't even seen the defense's case yet. Ro, you guys are the best. Does she really? Go take Natasha. I don't know if the police did anything. I don't know if she intended to hurt him. The prosecution only has to prove her guilty. Is manslaughter on the table? I've never heard. I wish Jenn was still in here because I could ask her. So I believe they could find her guilty of like a lesser charge. She's not being charged with intending to do it anyways. So, oh, Roro, wow. Some guys talk that way via text to other guys, but not all guys talk that way about women. I'm gonna write her back in the chat, and then we're gonna keep going. She's behind. Can't leave her hanging back there. Excuse me. Okay, I know that Dietz is going to be streaming Proctor tomorrow. By the way, Proctor, who led the investigation, was cross-examined Monday. The defense alleges he likely played a part in framing Karen for John's killing. The prosecution strongly denies that claim. John died in Canton in the early hours of January 29th of 2022. Prosecutors say Reed dropped him off at a house party hosted by a fellow officer after a night of drinking, struck him while making a three-point turn, and drove away. Reed has pleaded not guilty to second-degree murder and other charges. Yeah, so for that, they don't have to prove that she intended to, But I do believe they can still find her guilty of a lesser charge, maybe. Motor vehicle manslaughter and leaving the scene causing a death. Would those be less like the lesser charge to that? I think she was overcharged for sure. Yes, second degree. That means there was some type of situation that caused it. Sherry says he looked like he had dog marks on his arm. To me, it doesn't look like something that would happen if you're hit by a car. But then again, I'm not an expert, so I don't know. That's just my opinion. As a normal mom that doesn't, I don't know too much about what dog injuries would look like or if you're hit by a car, but I wouldn't imagine it would look like that. Describing a text he sent his friends, describing Reed with a vulgar word for a woman, Proctor explained to the jury that the remarks were unprofessional and regrettable, and that he shouldn't have made them. In text exchanges with friends and state police colleagues and supervisors, Proctor used a series of vulgar terms to describe Reed, made a disparaging remark about her medical condition, and said he had gone through her phone looking for nude photos of her. You can read a full breakdown of his text messages here. Which we can do that if you guys want, or I can just link it for you because I want to show you this video of the jury. But so legal analyst Michael Coyne, he's dean of Massachusetts School of Law, said on a nightly show called Canton Confidential on Monday night that he believes Proctor's testimony might have sunk the prosecution's case altogether. I think the testimony likely was fatal to the government's case, especially as you point out, his supervisors were involved in this exchange and didn't reprimand him in any way, didn't even stop the conversation from continuing. The fact is, it does taint all law enforcement in this case, and a lot of law enforcement hasn't covered themselves in glory already. So I'm afraid this has put the Commonwealth likely in a very fatal position. He also noted that the damage was done in only a half an hour of cross-examination. The jury now has Tuesday off to let that testimony sink in before returning to court on Wednesday. I think he hit the grand slam as he started out his cross-examination, and that was his intent. Coyne said of defense attorney Alan Jackson, "That type of language in a courtroom is always shocking. The fact that it would be the lead investigator using this type of language about the accused, her attorney, and all of this, I just think is horrific. And I feel for the O'Keefe family." How jurors reacted, which I'm going to show a clip of someone talking about this, but NBC 10 Boston commentator and analyst Sue O'Connell, which I think this is actually the exact clip, I didn't watch the video attached to this article. when Proctor's texts were read on Monday, said she was shocked by their content. It was really striking. He looked like a beaten down man, she said, of his demeanor. He had his head down during sidebars. It was like a dead man walking sort of moment when he was up there. I was shocked at the text messages, she said. They made fun of just about every aspect of Karen's life. And as a person who has a chronic illness, as a woman, they made fun of people who have disabilities all across the board and use language in such a graphic way to describe a human being and objectify doesn't even go nearly far enough. So regardless of what you think she did or didn't do, to have the law officers of our state having this discussion was really, really shocking. So I don't want to play, hold on, I don't want to play the whole video, but I want to see what we have here. If this is the legal analyst or just a clip of court. If it's court, I want to see it with you guys. I mean, Alan Jackson is.
So this is a citizen. She's a woman. You were supposed to be objectively investigating.
This is just a short video, so.
You weren't so much as objectively investigating her as objectifying her in those moments, correct?
Again, Mr. Jackson, it was a poor choice of words and a joke.
Some truly explosive moments as Trooper Michael Proctor was grilled on cross-examination this afternoon. Proctor read off texts from a group chat between he and other police investigators. Many of the texts involved offensive.
Yes, it is the same. Okay, hold on. Let's go up to this clip to see what they put here.
Well, it is week 7 of the Karen Reed murder trial, and we are now hearing for the first time from the lead investigator on the case, Massachusetts State Police Trooper Michael Proctor. Proctor was asked to read aloud damning text messages he wrote about the case, now putting his credibility and integrity under
fire. I'm not going to play that, but here, let's go. This is the woman that was referenced in the article. And she's going to just tell us quickly in about a minute what the jury's reaction was.
The jury is majority female, and they range from age, I think, of about 25 to maybe 65. And to watch some of them who have not had a lot of facial expressions about what's happening in the courtroom suddenly have expressions. One woman had her mouth open. One woman had her hand over her mouth and was watching. One woman who doesn't often look at the witnesses leaned in and looked at him like this. One woman looked back and looked at every single female juror she could look at to make eye contact with. Now, I'm leaving the men out because I wasn't necessarily paying attention to them, because suddenly the coalition of women on the jury were reacting to this language, to these words. And I at one point, they were just shaking their head. One woman laughed that this was just, I have to guess, an outrageous laugh reaction.
Absurd. Like one of those.
Yes, like
absurd.
Yes. The jury is majority female, and they range from age, I think, of about 25 to maybe 65. And to watch some of them who have not had a lot of facial expressions about what's happening in the courtroom suddenly have expressions. One woman had her mouth open. One woman had her hand over her mouth and was watching.
What do you guys think about that? If the jury is having this visual reaction, now, it is so interesting, Brandy. I actually did find the moment that they start to cross-examine Proctor, and I think that we should just go, let's just go hang out for a little bit and watch it. It's like only the last 14 minutes of the testimony that day. Okay, so this video that I found is, I believe, Court TV going over all of the text messages, okay? And I'm going to share it down below because we're just going to watch the end, the last 10 minutes or so. But before that, the prosecution actually brought these out. But I feel like, I mean, they were probably trying to get ahead of it. What do you guys think? Why do you think that they did this the way that they did? And then there we go. To be honest, after these messages, I'm disgusted by the whole prosecution side. Okay, let's go I mean, if you haven't watched them, so this is the prosecution, read through all of them with him. He read through them and they were talking about it and he was apologizing. At first, he wasn't reading them all. There are moments where it actually sounds like messages are skipped or deleted because the response doesn't make sense. So if you have the chance to go watch to watch it all, the prosecution kind of talking with him about it, let me know if you hear what I'm talking about. There were a couple moments where I was like, huh? He answered that like that? That just didn't sound right to me. So I don't know. I'm all sorts of skeptical of all these people at this point. But if you haven't seen, this is after all that. And then her attorney comes up to question him about it. And he doesn't have long. It's the end of the day. And he just had a couple minutes. But I think that he made some really good points. And for the jury to go home and think about all of this, it's going to be really interesting what happens tomorrow. Okay.
You are unmuted.
5, 6, 7. Okay. And then I would ask you.
Oh my God, Sweet and Sloopy. How disgusting. Oh, I love your picture. Exactly. If one of the jurors, I felt that way because someone close to me has had serious issues with their gut and with surgeries involving their gut and having serious infections and complications from those surgeries because it's where your waste goes through. And of course, it's going to be very easy to get an infection because duh, right? And so it just made me all sorts of like emotional, angry, all of it. Tiffany, I'm not sure for the thing a jury can do. I don't actually know the answer to that.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Excuse me.
Trooper Proctor, Trooper DeChico had sent you a photograph
Yes, she does.
of my colleague, Mr. Yannetti, correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, because of the technical issue, I'm not going to display on the television. May I display this part?
I just can't imagine how everyone in the courtroom felt. First of all, I love Yannetti. He's my favorite of her attorneys. I don't know why. It's just when he speaks, even when Jackson speaks, I hang on to every word. When Lally speaks, I don't necessarily hear shit. Honestly, can't make sense of really much. But jury nullification. Thank you, Wanderer. I wonder if we will have cross tomorrow or voir dire. I cannot say that. I don't know. I hope cross. They do always seem to cut off her defense when they're up there. And, I was in a chat. We were kind of talking about this yesterday in Dietza's chat because Laura had came up and she said, I've never seen this. I haven't seen it either. I've seen Kate, I'm not an expert by any means. Haven't watched a million trials at all. But in the last few years, I have been watching them and kind of getting more up to speed with kind of what goes down and how things work. And usually in other cases, I've seen judges give them plenty of time, all the time they need. And so I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I think Gavel Geeks was like, I've seen it happen a few times. It's just not something I had personally seen before. But to me, she seems biased. I can't help it. Now, during this, I think she was a little bit different. Yeah, imagine if he was doing. I wish he was. I prefer Yannetti. I am not a fan of Jackson at all, honestly. A lot of people have... I've gotten a lot of comments that people are like, how can you stand to listen to him? He screams during Jen McCabe's. He was so disrespectful to her and things like that. So she seems to be annoyed all the time with both sides, always rushing things along. Yeah, sidebar every minute, which I don't like. Allie, that's because you know Allie is going to say it 15 times. Defense sometimes just says things once, especially the snarky stuff. All right, let's listen. I'm going to try not to pause a lot, but it's just, I mean, I couldn't look away.
Briefly, sure. Thank you. You see that, gentleman?
I do, sir.
Is that the photograph that you received?
Yes.
Is that what you referred to on direct examination with Mr. Lally about receiving a photograph from Mr. Yannetti?
Correct.
And then your response was what?
I hate that man. I truly hate that man.
Why? There's not, Jackie? I thought there was.
Actually, your response
There
was,
wasn't today.
I'm going through his retarded client's phone right now, correct?
Yes, after the picture, sir.
Yannetti
Yes.
looking at.
Who's the retarded client?
I was referring to Miss Reed, again, unprofessional language.
I'm asking who you were referring to.
Miss
I know
Reed.
you got an explanation. Who was it that you were referring to as retarded?
Miss Reed.
Karen Reed, the woman sitting to my left.
Yes, sir.
The subject of your investigation as a professional, correct?
Yes, sir.
As an unbiased, objective investigator. The person that you were investigating, you referred to your bosses as.
Yeah, you refer to your bosses. You call her the R word, and you say you hate Yannetti. What in the hell? You hate him? Like, I don't know, you guys. I don't hate many people unless they've really personally, like, done something to me personally. You know what I mean? It's okay. Sorry.
Retarded. Correct?
Again, poor language on my part.
Poor language is one way to put it. Completely offensive is another way to put it, right?
Objection.
I've got to sustain that, Mr. Jackson.
After you referred to my client as retarded, then you decided to make a comment about Mr. Yannetti, her lawyer, correct?
Correct.
And what did you say about Mr. Yannetti again?
I hate that man. I truly hate that man.
I hate that man. I truly hate him, correct?
Correct.
You didn't say I dislike him, disagree with him. You said I hate him, correct?
Correct, sir.
That's a visceral response to someone who's just doing a job, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. You can ask it differently.
Sure. Let me ask it this way. Were you upset or annoyed or pissed off that Karen Reed had gotten representation, legal representation, to represent her?
No, not at all. That's her right.
Oh, I just wish I knew what everyone was thinking at this time. Karen's
Let me ask you this.
John's
In
family. Just
August of 2022, you said you absolutely hate it, correct?
I don't know if he
yes,
used absolutely.
indeed. He's like,
Yeah, I didn't use absolutely, sir.
You used truly, correct?
Truly, yes.
How do you feel about
oh,
it now?
Amber.
Sitting right there.
I still don't
Objection.
care for him now.
Yeah.
I'll let it stand.
Sorry, I was talking over that, but yeah, I still don't care for him now. And Amber, I can believe that because you are just sweet like that. Now, I can't say I've never hated anybody, but it's probably very, very rare. And yeah, I'm going to rewind it. How do you feel about him now? Still don't care for him.
You used truly, correct?
Truly, yes.
How do you feel about him now? Sitting right there.
I still don't
Objection.
care for him now.
I'll let it stand.
Cray. Aunt Cray. Oh, shoot. What was that?
What did you tell your colleagues that you were looking for as you sat at almost 10 p.m. at
Not
night
sure how I got it.
on a Wednesday night, August 17th, 2022, looking through Karen Reed's phone?
I didn't tell them I was looking through anything. They knew I was going through Miss Reed's phone. I provided a inappropriate joke as an update. They knew I was going through location data, text messages.
Mayla's mom says, I would assume there's some reason he does not like him. Well, I'm sure that they've probably testified. He's probably, testified many times against clients of his and things like that. But is there a personal reason or is it just that? You know what I mean? And even if you don't like him, like to talk like that is just nasty. I'm sorry to know that law enforcement and not just like the little guys, like the people closer to the top, that they're talking like this. I don't know. it's so disappointing. And it does feel like, since it was so immediate, it was so quick, it's almost, I don't know, it just makes you wonder. I can't even help it. As somebody who really doesn't know too much of what happened before, none of it, when I hear this, and I know that you immediately were on this, how do you even say that? Like, you immediately were onto this theory, and this was your, tunnel vision or whatever, and you're talking like this. I don't know. It makes me feel like you have tunnel vision. It makes me feel like you're extremely biased. It makes me feel, I don't know. It just makes me feel like, is it the evidence that led you to this person, or are you trying to make things fit?
Is Google searches, but like I mentioned earlier, I had stop.
Except Trooper Proctor,
Scott A.
none of that really professional sounding stuff ended up in your comments to your bosses. Did it?
Again, it was a poor joke.
Is that yes or no?
Did not know.
It did not.
No,
As a
sir.
matter of fact, what did you write after you talked about going through the, quote, retarded client's phone?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I think it's not uncommon to have, like, this is the thing though. A lot of times these attorneys who argue it, like a prosecution and the defense, I know, at least in where I come from and like the court system I was more familiar with, a lot of the times these people would be so passionate in court against each other and fighting for their clients. But at the end of the day, they all play golf together. They all go eat together. My own attorney and my custody hearing told me that. That's a lot of times that is the way that it is. So even though, yes, they might argue against each other in court and the police involved and stuff like that, a lot of times they still can personally interact outside of work and get along. And literally, that is exactly what my attorney told me. Like, we might fight really hard for our clients in court, but we all go to the same golf course. We all go to the same bars after work, and that kind of, to the same restaurants and stuff like that. That's just the way that it was in the town I came from. So I don't know. And it was more of a like smaller, tight knit town, not like a city or anything.
No nudes so far.
No nudes so far, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
And you said that to your bosses.
Both ways for sure too.
You were looking for naked photographs of Miss Reed on a Wednesday night as you sat in your office at 9:44 p.m., correct?
No, not correct.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked for naked photos of a male suspect that you were investigating?
I don't look for naked photos on anyone's phones.
But you said you were looking for nudes of Miss Reed.
Like I said, Mr. Jackson, it was an inappropriate joke.
And maybe he didn't really mean like I actually truly hate him. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be fair and like look at it from both ways. Maybe that's just like the language that he used. I don't know. I could be looking at it I don't know. Y'all know what I mean.
So this is a citizen. She's a woman. You were supposed to be objectively investigated.
Right.
Does your text message to your colleagues and Massachusetts State Police reflect an objective investigation of a citizen?
Objection.
You can get part of that question and ask again.
Kathy.
Do you believe
Yeah.
that your text messages were reflective of an objective investigator?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Do you believe that, Trooper Proctor?
I believe poor jokes in unprofessional language have no bearing on the integrity and the facts and physical evidence of this case.
What do you guys think about that? And he does look to the jury when he's saying that. I mean, he says jokes and poor language have nothing to do with the evidence and the facts of this case. I'm so curious how you guys feel. Either way.
It's not that they don't have any bearing on the facts and integrity. It's that they have no place in a professional investigation because it shows bias, right?
Objection.
So I have to sustain that as asked. Go ahead and ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
I could see that if there was
You
actually
weren't so much as objectively investigating Karen Reed
there was good
as
physical
objectifying her.
potential.
Correct?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
Isn't that right?
Rephrase the question, please.
You weren't so much as objectively investigating her as objectifying her in those moments. Correct?
Again, Mr. Jackson, it was a poor choice of words and a joke that I should not have texted out. But from the start of the investigation, we didn't know what we had.
And your Trooper Proctor, your point in saying no nudes so far to your colleagues in Massachusetts State Police
I don't
was to
trust them.
suggest that you were looking for nudes and you'd update them when you found them. Correct?
Incorrect.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Hey, Crystal.
Did you find any nudes of
Again,
Karen Reed?
I didn't go through the photo, sir.
Did you find
agree.
any nudes of Karen Reed?
I didn't go through the photo, sir.
You weren't successful in your quest.
I came across text messages from Miss Reed to another attorney on January 29th, so I had to stop looking through her phone.
So you
Hey,
got
Thistle.
sidetracked before you could get to the naked pictures of Miss Reed. Is that what you're saying?
Sustained.
Yes, I know they are. They are actually the only ones that I've. So Natasha makes a point. Law enforcement are often instructed and trained to look at the jury when testifying, but everyone is trying to paint themselves in the best light on the stand, just as Karen would, just as I would. Still gross, though. Law enforcement are actually the only people that I've ever seen do that. And that's not true. Experts. You know what I mean? But oftentimes when we see like regular civilians on the stand, they don't do that. When Jenn was doing it, Jenn McCabe, it stood out to me so much. And I think that's why. I don't know. That's just from the trials I've personally watched. But I feel like that's a normal thing to see the law enforcement do it. Still interesting, like to pay attention to when they do and kind of how they do that and stuff like that. But
To be clear, when you sent those text messages on that group
yeah,
chat,
Jackie, interesting.
those text messages included, as you said, not one, but two of your supervisors, correct?
Correct.
Were you ever reprimanded for your conduct in sending that text message?
Objection.
So that's sustained. Do we need to go to sidebar based on what you told me earlier?
Mm.
We do not.
Okay, so,
I'll ask it a different way.
okay.
Did either Trooper Fanning or Trooper Buchanan
You're right. But
dress you down in a responsive text message in that text thread for doing something so abhorrent as looking for nudes or referring to nudes of a female suspect or subject of your investigation? Did that ever happen?
Not that I can recall.
and Amber Heard, yes.
As a matter of
It was
fact,
mom, yes. I don't know how I forgot
in
about that
reference
just
to
now.
one of the text
And
messages
Amber,
in the same
yeah.
string, your boss, Yuri Buchanan, actually responded to the photo of Mr. Yannetti, didn't he?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
I'll allow it.
He did, sir.
After you received the photo,
Okay, I just have to pause and say for me, we only got 4 minutes left and then we'll chat for a second. I'll let you guys go. But for me, I could not look past this as far as him as a person, like throw him in the garbage. That's how I feel. He seems like such a tool. You know what I mean? That kind of dude. But I could still find her guilty if they presented physical evidence that proved that, regardless of this. I have to be honest. Let's say it was just for sake of the argument and the conversation, let's say that John O'Keefe was stabbed, okay? And there was, Karen Reed had blood on her clothes. She had a cut on her hand. Or you know what I mean? There was physical evidence that showed it was likely her that did it. Even if these texts happen, I would obviously still be able to find her guilty. So I think it truly just depends on what and how they're going to present. I really want to hear from the medical examiner, how they're going to present the physical evidence. I want to hear about his wounds and those kind of things from the medical examiner. So How do you guys feel about that? Hey, Riley. Sweet dreams. I hope you sleep good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and if you did send me that, so I had family come from out of town, but after the live I'm going to check messages and stuff like that, and I'll make sure to get it posted.
That's when you said, I'm quote, funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. Is that right?
Objection.
All this, but not too many.
Sure.
He
Is that correct? It's on the top of page
Yes, sir.
685.
Kaladaho.
And you're
The
Buchanan
truth and justice.
liked that comment. Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. Good.
I see you laughed at an image here, sir. I can't tell if he liked that comment, sir.
May I approach?
Yes.
I don't know if it's just because it's faded or, yeah, my copy's faded.
Top 2685. You can use my copy if that helps.
All right. Thank you.
What do you see on the top of that page?
That Sergeant Buchanan liked it.
Like what?
The going through his retarded client's phone, sir.
May I approach?
Yes.
I'll take my copy.
There you go.
So your supervisors at Massachusetts State Police not only didn't ride you for making comments like this, encouraged it.
Objection.
Sustained.
Trooper Proctor, this is your direct chain of command. Is that right? You're a Buchanan.
Yes, sir.
Did you believe that your conduct was a misuse of your authority and power as you were going through her phone in August of 2022?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No, I had a warrant signed by Stone District Clerk to go through Ms. Reed's phone. I don't think it was an abuse of power. I had every right to go through that phone.
Did the warrant say anything about looking for nudes of my client?
Objection.
Did it
No,
say anything about that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, next question.
So that would be an abuse of the power that was given to you by the court, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Trooper Proctor, you'd agree that the hallmark of any good investigation, as you've been taught and others in Massachusetts State Police have been taught, is that the investigation and the investigator have to be fair. They have to be impartial. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Meaning that the investigation has to be free of conflicts, right?
Yes, sir.
The investigator has to be free of conflicts, right?
Yes.
The investigation has to be free of bias. Is that right?
Correct.
You can't be biased against the person that you're investigating. That would compromise the entire thing, wouldn't it? Basically, you follow the evidence. You're supposed to follow the evidence wherever it takes you, right?
Correct.
Good or bad, top to bottom, just follow the evidence and report it back. That's how an investigation is supposed to be run, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And these are things that you learn early on at Massachusetts State Police Academy and then in your detective training. Isn't that right?
It is.
Literally, it's part of an oath that you took at the academy that you will, quote, faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all of the duties incumbent on you as a Massachusetts State Police trooper, right?
Yes, sir.
You swore that oath.
I did.
When you start an investigation, everybody in that investigation should be treated exactly the same. Don't you believe that's true?
Correct.
Everybody, have you ever heard the phrase, everybody's a suspect until they're not? Right?
Objection.
Sustained.
It's especially important early in an investigation before all of the facts are known that the investigator is not compromised by bias or prejudice, right?
Correct.
Most important early in the investigation because that's when the most things are up in the air. There's the cloud, the fog of not knowing exactly what the truth is, right?
Objection.
Sustained.
In other words, Trooper Proctor, you don't get to pick a suspect and then try to find evidence to support your choice, right?
Correct.
But in this case, it's exactly what you did, isn't it?
Absolutely not.
All right, Mr. Jackson, why don't we end for today?
And there she goes, ending it for him again. Okay, you guys, I'm going to jump off here. I just want to, I was going to sit and talk with you for a minute, but I have a couple things that I have to go do. But I wanted to read Dolly's comment. She says, we will find out, but I believe these cops even tried to get the ME to rule homicide when I think it was first undetermined. And I do know that some of that, there was some stuff like that that came up in their text messages to each other. So if you guys haven't listened to those texts, I would definitely give it a listen. I'm going to drop the link in the chat again right now. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who came. Thank you to the mods. Thank you to the chat. I appreciate you guys so much. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.